Hey, I'm Sam Peterson, author of two books, Trunky, Transgender Junky, and Sugar, a Memoir of Craving. I'm an old gay trans guy with bad teeth who likes knives. This is new for me. So I wanted to share my love of knives with you, but I'm not going to rate them or show you the newest or fanciest. There's so many people out there who do that and do it well. But I will talk about my emotional and psychological connection to these objects, and I will do it queerly. I will queerly share my queer love of knives with you. If you're LGBTQIA plus and you love knives, DM me. That's what I want to say. But like, where and to whom? It's not weird to be a trans guy who's into knives, I don't think. Those of us who skew masculine have generally been obsessive about it, finding totems and talisman along our interior way. For me, as a kid, I was obsessed with my father's jewelry box. It was a wooden Scandinavian design box because my dad was going to be an architect and ended up being an engineer. And he had and has an eye for design. Scandinavian design still sticks with me. It's in my pantheon of weirdly masculine identified objets, even though Scandinavian design seems objectively to me very androgynous. Anyway, this box, its lines were beautiful and appealing, and inside was lined with this like green felt. And there were these kind of crunchy objects inside, not streamlined at all, but damn, they were everything. For one, the cufflinks, these things that take place of buttons, right? To make the end of your sleeve fancy. How long have we had buttons for? For purely unnecessary by the time my dad wore them, just a weird dandy hangover from the pre-button era. He had this one pair, they were faux scrimshaw, and they had like a schooner etch on the bone. God, did that pluck my little burgeoning masculine nerves. There were heavy watches with metal wristbands, a silver name tag bracelet, some hefty rings from South America, I guess, because they had like um, llamas on them, some army stuff, a medal or two, some lapel pins. They were everything to me. I could have sat all day poring over this box and its inhabitants. I was, an interior child. I had friends, but I was often alone with my thoughts, which were often about kind of challenging the world as it presented itself to me as being unjust. Even like at 3, I did not appreciate the masculine divide. And I say masculine because in 1960 something, everything was either male or everything else that didn't quite hold a phallic candle up to male. All this to say, I really love knives. I rediscovered my love for them through EMDR therapy, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which I was doing to demolish ancient barriers I'd erected to protect myself from memories of sexual abuse and rape. Long story short, EMDR took me to this childhood place where I found myself not only on the floor, pawing through my father's momentarily purloined jewelry box, but thinking that I was a boy. Well, knowing that I was a boy. I wanted to make art about this, but I'm not clever enough. But I do like knives. And I had this thought of maybe there were other queer people out there who like knives too. So I thought, I'd do like kind of an appeal and ask the vast and chattery void that is the internet, hey, do you like knives? And are you a big homo or trans person or something? Me too. Also, this is my recent favorite knife. It's called the Squidward. It's by Kaiser, a Chinese based operation that has really stepped up their game this year. I've got a few knives from them, and they're all equally great. I'm also obsessed with octopus and other cephalopods, and so bought this blade purely on the basis of it looking like a squid. But also, it also happens to be a great knife too, solid in the hand, weightier than you might think, which I like. I recently got a Benchmade bug out, one of the American standards, an iconic knife even, and I thought it felt cheap and light. So there you go. The Squidward is clever, stylish, funny, and mystical all at the same time. It's a smaller blade, under 7 inches, and perfectly scaled to fit my medium to small ass trans guy hands. It does, unfortunately, only open with a front flipper, which is my least favorite way to open a knife, only because I'm bad at it. I can open Squidward using a cigarette lighter style flip. This works most of the time, but often fails too. Nonetheless, I'm so attracted to this little sea beast. It's got a liner lock, G10 scales that are so unobtrusive, it feels like a metal folder, which again, I love. My absolute favorite knife of all time, as of now, would be the MKM Gochia in full titanium. Opening that feels like opening something that's part of a knight's armor. It's so heavy metal. The Azo Squidward has 154 cm steel, a metal that I think I like, but I don't really know yet. I'm in the early days of learning how to sharpen, and what metals take what kind of beating. I don't know. But I trust the boys online when they say 154 cm steel is a pretty decent. Also, I didn't mention the Azo part of this knife. Azo Mai or Azomai is the designer of many of the Kaiser brand's best blades, this being one of them. Another is the Kaiser Beglighter, which I have in XL size and which I'll talk about in another video probably. I like it a lot. It's enormous. I hope I find some other queerdo knife enthusiasts out there. There are so many knife channels and reviewers. I listen to Advanced Knife Bro, Metal Complex, Neves Knives, Stasa 23, Nick Shabazz, and of course Knife Center with David C. Anderson and Seth V, to name a few. No, that's pretty much it. I've seen a couple by some people of color and some young women, and I'll keep looking for more representation that stands out. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to this masculine flavor. I'm not saying that knives are inherently masculine, they're not. But for me, they are because of the context and mindset with which I discovered them. Did I mention inside my dad's box there was a Victorinox Swiss Army blade in it? And that this tiny blade keeper was the source of my deepest, strongest love? No, I did not.